Are we up? There. I think we actually have it now. All right, let's try this again. Okay. So let's see if there's some interest in this. What I have here this evening is one of the Star Trek media tie-in books. This was, Amazon tells me, the last of the numbered ones. I'm not sure about that. Number 65, A Hard Rain by Dean Wesley Smith. Yes, it's one of those. They get trapped in the holodeck books, which was always one of those great plots that TNG brought to the series. It's relatively short, but I think it's going to be fun. And I've enjoyed it in the past. I did read it a couple years back and found it quite entertaining. Dean Wesley Smith is rather prolific, both within media tie-in circles and just generally with his fiction. If you're into creative writing blogs, you probably come across his courses or his blog, and he's quite entertaining with his views on publishing and the like. And I figured this would be a fun one to pull out. Not sure why it is. Got my thumbnail wrong. That is very strange. Yes, Lily, it is. You may hear Lily occasionally in the background. Calico house cat. I'm going to go pick her up. Hope she doesn't knock over my iPad. All right. Now, all right. Now we have the book. Let's pull it up here on the Kindle app. All right. The always accurate timer here thinks this is going to take me about an hour to read. I tend to be a fast reader. If you really do not want to spoil yourself, by all means, feel free to hit pause. I will occasionally let you know where I am in the book. And otherwise, enjoy. Okay, so we open up with Dixon Hill in his office, thinking about the deep, dark streets of San Francisco. There's raining, very atmospheric, very noir. Of course, it's Jean-Luc Picard, who's doing a holodeck novel. He's looking for a MacGuffin, which is well, I'm not quite sure what it is. Let's see here. So he's looking for a round gold ball, part of the adjuster in quotation marks. I assume this is something from the Enterprise 24th century. I guess we'll find out. I did read this once, but it has been a while. You may hear Lily purring in the background. Think of that as a little ASMR for your listening pleasure. Okay, so we get a captain's log. Picard basically saying that Crusher has pointed out to him that he's in a better mood and more relaxed after he does the occasional hologram or holographic novel. Apparently, this thing started out as a murder mystery. So he goes through the suspects, and of course, it's very possible that the crime figure is involved. I guess we'll find out how the adjuster comes into things later on. Okay. Um, Smith is basically doing almost a parody of hard-boiled detective writing. There's a lot of similes, and it mentions in passing that that Dixon Hill went to a show with Mr. Data and Luscious Bev. This could be interesting. We're at the 3% point if you're following along. More on the Luscious Bev, apparently dressed the part as a femme fatale from the 1930s, 40s, when this is set. Okay. Okay, Dix is beating up someone who's been following him, and we're getting a lot of cat metaphors and similes for some reason. So Redblock, who's the antagonist of the Dixon Hill books, has apparently been kidnapped or has disappeared. So that's a further complication for finding the adjuster. %. Hill has arrived at Redblock's office, essentially. He has asked the luscious Bev and Mr. Data to stake out the place. Now, I suppose there isn't question here about how the holodeck would be able to physically separate the three of them to make it make sense for Picard to walk to them. I'm probably overthinking this, but then again, that's kind of the point of these, isn't it? It's the fun of them to overanalyze and kind of play around with it. I suppose you could have essentially two rooms, and in one there's a kind of a treadmill where Picard is, slowly making its way to where the other two of them are located. I don't know. It's an interesting question that could, I'm sure, back in my university days, waste an evening I should have been studying. I'm going to clear my throat. My apologies. A little better. And he has to correct Mr. Data to call him Dix instead of Sir. I know this is essentially done for a comedic thing in Trek, that Data is this incredibly well-programmed automaton, but yet completely gets confused by this sort of thing and doesn't figure out things like this, but it does get wearing. Hopefully this won't be an ongoing runner in this book. Oh, we've got a shootout here at this warehouse. and Hill and his team have just discovered the bodies. Oh dear. Talking about the blood, like a mad child that got into the red paint. Yeah, Smith is having some fun with this. Not that I mind. I've always enjoyed it when Trek has been willing to be a little comedic. And yes, they can go overboard. I'm fully aware of that, but you gotta have a little bit of fun. Okay, so we get some captain's logs as well dumped throughout the text. It turns out that the Enterprise is approaching something called the Blackness, which is messing up sensors and the like, and they got to try to figure out what's causing that. So that's going to be the external thing that's happening. I assume it has something to do with this adjuster business that Hill is looking for in the holographic program, but well, we'll see. We're at 9% now. They made their way into the office and found more casualties, but not a red block, so he seems to have been taken. Okay, so the approaching blackness has apparently disrupted ship systems. The warp core is offline and they are coasting, I guess, apparently. But they haven't quite entered the zone of the blackness yet, and who knows what happens when they do, and this adds the ticking clock to make things even more stressful. In the office, there are bullets popping out of the walls, strangely enough. Is this a bug in the holodeck, or what's the issue here? Okay, so the bullets have, like I said, been popping out of the walls. Well, the holographic characters that were murdered are coming back to life now. Well, that's not good. Okay, starting chapter 2 at the 11% mark. Okay, Hill and the rest have been captured by the uh, now alive again henchman of our villain. And Mr. Data and Malicious Bev are also tied up. Yeah, I'm sure that's a prompt for somebody on certain websites, but we won't go there. Okay, so Dix is trying to talk his way out of it because the goons, so to speak, think that he was the one who's stashed their boss. But Hill has pointed out that it's more likely to be one of their men who's missing, and it turns out there is one, and so they should work together to try to track down Red Block because Picard wants the adjuster. So, okay. There's a pretty good repartee here between the characters. It's very, well, hard boiled. It's pretty good. Okay, so another captain's log. They think that the blackness is a bunch of black holes that are, or singularities that are together and kind of interact, I guess. Um, I don't think it's going to matter much for the plot. Okay, so if the ship enters the blackness, it'll be destroyed. Well, okay, more ticking. We're at the 13% mark, by the way. Okay, back in the holodeck, they think they've traced Red Block to an Undertaker. So Hill is going to go in while the luscious Bev, Mr. Data, stay outside and watch. Make sure no one sneaks out the back, as it were. Oh, we got a dead end. We have no Red Block at the funeral home. Oh dear. Well, how can it be that simple? We're only 13% in after all. 17%. Back to another captain's log. We're moving in time here too, obviously. So this is 17 hours before the heart of the adjuster was stolen, apparently. And the police show up. Yeah, Smith is really having some fun here with the tropes, but it's all good. Dirty crossing each other. Okay. Dix is trying to escape the police before they can be rounded up with Data and presumably Crusher as well. The luscious Bev, as she's being called here. %. They're trying to get between fire escapes between two buildings. Data has assisted in building a bridge of sorts with some wood Okay, sure. Why not? Now they're going to contact Detective Bell, which is Picard's, or sorry, Dix's contact on the Force. Oh dear, Bell has been shot in the stomach. So much for him. I wonder how close he was to retirement. He's dead, Dix. And no, she doesn't say that, unfortunately. Chapter 3 at the 21% part. Clicking right along. The doors are randomly opening and closing on the Enterprise. So I guess be careful because you might get cut in half by a door. There are some things that it makes a lot more sense to put in a media tie-in novel than actually have to do in the real world. Although I suppose these days they just use CGI. And it would look terrible. He thinks that Bell's going to come back to life like the goons did earlier. No idea why this is happening, by the way, except malfunctions that the dark is causing. Yes, they came back to life, and yes, they scared the heck out of the driver who came around to open the door. And Hill said he'd ride in with them because he thought this was going to happen, of course. one of the other cops, Bell, I thought you were dead. I was. Yes, and yes, I'm remembering the joke from that Simpsons episode with the, I believe it was a soap opera, wasn't it? Yes, Marge and Lisa were watching. And Lisa was sick. Ah, okay. So now we're back with the captain's logs, and they're LaForge has discovered that using this obscure element is able to block the waves that are messing up ship systems. And this element is very rare, and it looks gold. Well, I guess we know what the adjuster is made of, and why they're frantically looking for it. Now they're interrogating the Undertaker. Okay, so the Undertaker's given them a name, Ghost Johnson. So they gotta track him down. Or her, I guess. Well, I assume it's him. Yes, another crime lord. Okay, so this device, Data thinks, will be able to help them back away from the darkness, which is why they need it so bad. Okay, sure. uh, and Mr. Data is driving, in case you're wondering. And Dix is in the back with, yes, Luscious Bev. Okay, sure. 30% mark. They've arrived at a castle that's on the shore. So kind of a supervillain hideout, I guess. A cat startled them as they ran past, at which point my cat decided to make a noise. Come over. Yeah. Yes, come on. Come on now. Yes, I know. I know, I know, I know. Come on. Yes, you can sit on me while I'm reading. Yes. Oh dear, now we have a heroine involved. A woman has screamed that is running toward them. And I don't know if you can hear the purring, but you can. Kitty wants scratches, so I give her scratches. Yeah. Here you go. Oh dear, the woman has run off a cliff. And we're starting chapter 4, which is at the 32% mark, so third of the way. Okay, so Ghost and Johnson apparently already knows about the whole coming back to life thing, and pretended to be a guard to get the drop on them, but the cop knows who he is, and so they're laughing and slapping each other on the back. Sure, sure. Okay, we know why, because this is how the thing is structured, that the Holland novel is being changed in real time and stuff like that. Okay, sure, whatever. Okay, they've asked him about the woman who went off the cliff. The ghost says he doesn't know who it is, but he's going to check with the staff. So we got another mystery to deal with. $35%. A ghost bought this place from Barney the Beast when he went to jail. Yeah, Smith is just really having fun with these names. Okay, ghost is called in the staff, asked about the young woman. They are acting shifty. Okay, so the butler has said that he knows they've dismissed the rest of the staff, and the butler has just told a ghost story. All right. Or I guess we are mixing genres a bit here, but all right. $38%. Okay, because the woman dodged around them. Uh, Dix has pointed out that of course, it can't be a ghost then, and at which point the shooting does commence. So it was a murder, but it was for art. Okay. Okay, chapter 5. We're at the 42% mark. Hill and the luscious Bev and Mr. Data are trying to get back into town now. Okay, another cat. Reference to a cat. Hill's coming back into his office. He's told the others to meet him later, so he's by himself. He smells some pungent perfume. I think we have ourselves another femme fatale. Okay, so there's a woman sitting on his desk wearing a tight skirt, hat, and smoking a cigarette. All right, not subtle, but the I guess the AI, if we're going to call it that, that uh, constructs these images knows what it's doing, I guess, because Picard likes a lot what he sees. So Dix has just told her what for to get out of his office. Doesn't have time to spar with her, and says that she should go down the stairs if she can manage it in her heels. Okay then. And she pulls out a gun. And she puts it away, and she's looking for Red Block as well. Oops, she wants to do away with him. Oh dear. And of course, Luscious Bev walks in on them and does not look happy. Even though, of course, nothing's actually happening, being a Star Trek novel and all. She wants Red Block because he's gunned down a bunch of her boyfriend's colleagues, essentially. Oh, she flirts a bit with Data, by the way, which I'm sure, some will enjoy. 48%, almost halfway. And yes, we are going to get into spoilers, obviously. If, you thought we weren't, I'm not sure why, but just to point out, we are going to hit spoiler town here soon. Oh dear, the woman has been shot, which, of course, presumably won't be permanent, but still, this is, yes, more complications. Okay, there's another captain's log talking about how they're running tests on the device, which, of course, the key component is now lost. Because we're moving back and forward in time, of course, to catch us up. If you want to know a woman, look through her purse. Okay, all right. When was this book published? I wonder. Because I'm not sure you could get away with that today. Let me see here. Publication date 2000, March, or 2002 rather. March. 22 years old. Not bad. 51%. The compass showed up, and they're catching up to the plot. Chapter 6. Okay, we're basically at the halfway point. Yeah, 51%. Thoughts so far. This is on the jokey side for Trek. We're playing a lot with the hard-boiled detective stuff. And yes, holodeck shenanigans. But considering it's basically contained as that as the A plot, it works. It's entertaining enough. Smith, if you read his blog, you know that he's very much into writing into the dark, as he calls it, where basically you don't really have a outline and you just, okay, well then what happens, and then what happens. I kind of get that sense in this because it seems like the complications are just sort of showing up. The sidetrack with the the actor, the ghost guy, and now the femme fatale who is killed in quotation marks. Presumably she'll come back to life. Um, it, it it's they seem like beads on a string as opposed to we're building up tension and that kind of thing. Um, Again, it's okay because we're dealing mostly with a parody here, a satire. But I could understand why there would be those that would find that irritating. um, there is the ticking clock of okay, well, if they don't find the thing, then they're going to enter this dark zone, and the ship's going to be destroyed or whatever. But we don't really sense. Well, we know it's not going to happen. This is a media tie-in book, but there's no real sense of danger yet, as much as Picard keeps thinking in his head, "Oh, I got to find the adjuster. I got to find the adjuster." So uh, take it more as for the humor, for Data being Data, cracking wise and not understanding things, and throwing in slang and needing slang explained to him in other parts. Um, Calling Crusher luscious Bev repeatedly. um, she seems along for the ride in this so far. Uh, it was good. That was her idea. Look in the purse. Um, but we're not necessarily playing her up that much, besides just mentioning she's there and apparently is wearing a hat. Now, I don't mind a woman wearing a hat, so I'm okay with that, but it seems unfortunate for the character. But we'll see. Maybe the latter half of the book has some more for her. Uh, should take me a little over half an hour to read the thing if I wasn't pausing occasionally to chat with you guys. I'll get back into it here. Excuse me. They're going to go into the femme fatale's apartment. Little breaking and entering. Although they do have her keys. Ah, okay, so they set up an experiment using the adjuster in the holodeck. Well, that's how they lost the thing. Um, Now, apparently, the holodeck was malfunctioning at the time because, well, the holodeck always malfunctions at moments like this. Um, 24%, or 54%, rather. They're looking through the woman's apartment. It's already been tossed. There's a concealed uh, compartment under the furniture, and it has a book in it that has a bunch of lists of payoffs to various officials and the like, which would explain why someone would want her deceased. It's Red Block's book. Now they're looking at her boyfriend's garage, the competitor with Red Block for the underworld. And they're going to break in there. And they're deceased. $57%. Well, that explains where the boyfriend and his people are. They're deceased. They did not come back to life, interestingly enough. Whether that's we're getting an explanation of why that is or not, I guess we'll find out. Data has found a box. I assume it's a safety deposit box, which we know that the femme fatale has the key for, which I guess Neil has the key for now. Money and a ledger. off to Billy Banger's place. Oh my, oh dear. Chapter 7. 59%. Okay, they're being followed by people. Hill wants to try to get the drop on them. Okay, they're trying to run to break away from these pursuers. And Dixon is dragging the luscious Bev, Dr. Crusher, after him. And well, her outfit is causing her problems. Yes, her heels. Dix his line has managed to capture the people pursuing him and is now lined up against the wall and is threatening them with execution. Oh my. Wait a sec, Dix. I don't want to get blood on my shoes like last time. That was luscious Bev. Well, okay. Oh dear, oh dear. They're Benny the Banger's men. Okay, they've told Benny the Banger has told his people to track them down because he thinks that Hill's the one killing uh, the others. Now they're looking for upstairs Benton, apparently. Okay, finally we get an explanation of just how it was lost, in quotation marks. The whole holodeck has been switching through programs as they're testing this device, and it snaps to Hill's office, or near the office. And the hallway outside, the doors were closed at that moment. They couldn't leave. They were trying to get the doors open. Their backs were turned to the device, and when they looked back again, it was gone. So somebody took it. Now, they claim that if they just shut down the program, it will be lost. It'll just disappear. Okay. I'm willing to accept a lot with this premise. I get that it's kind of a joke premise. But if that's true, then when you shut off the program, wouldn't anything organic disappear? Like, wouldn't people disappear then? That doesn't make sense. We've seen lots of times the holodecks shut off and everyone's fine. Or for that matter, clothing, other objects. We see those brought into the program, and they don't disappear. So I don't. I know we're trying to ratchet up the tension, create some tension in this thing, but this doesn't make any sense at all, even by the rules of Trek. Um, so that's frustrating that we're having to add this extra bit of confusion. I guess I understand why, but why not just say they can't, for whatever reason, turn the program off? That they're locked out, and they only have a couple hours before they enter the zone. They think it'll take double that time to get the program shut off. So it's better to try to search in the program to find the object. That would make more sense to me. But who knows? Anyway, back to the book. They're at a hardware store. Betty the Banger. It's a hideout. 35% or 65% mark. Yes, they're playing poker. Okay. And smoking. Okay, they've got a deal that they're going to join forces with these guys to go after the last option for who might have the adjuster, the ball. They don't actually play poker, sadly. Chapter 8. Okay, so the police and the, the the gangsters that we are currently aligned with are having a shootout. And he'll just kind of wanders off with the luscious Bev. Okay, all right. $71%. Okay, they're gonna just talk to the last guy and see if they can cut a deal. They're moving as quickly as they can, but Bev's heels are slowing them down. Yeah, okay. Harvey upstairs, Benton. That would be the last. Our rogues gallery of people who might have stolen the device. Oh dear, he already has the book that Hill was going to use as leverage, and he's the one that sent the cops on them. Oh dear, what will Hill do now? $73%. Of course I'm not honorable. I sell used cars. That's a good line. Okay, now they are back at Hill's office, and they're kind of recreating when the adjuster was lost. Okay, so they have realized that, well, why have they been trying to track down every crime figure in the city? Because they figured that if someone stole something, it would get fenced and it would end up in the hands of a crime figure. Hill has just realized that, hang on a minute, that doesn't necessarily follow. It would be anyone who would just come up the stairs, and they might not know what it is and all that. So now he's checking his appointments to see if anyone fits that. And we are at 76, so we're entering endgame, I think. Okay, so there are two possibilities. There's the fictional narrative that Hill was the novel was originally, it involves an actress, and Hill was supposed to meet with her male friend, shall we say, or the alternative is Bell, his buddy on the police force. So now he's concerned that it might be the cop. The cop might be dirty. And an hour and 45 minutes until they're sucked into the dark zone. Chapter 9, 77%. So to draw a bell to them, he's had Luscious Bev act panicky on the phone. And she's naturally doing this sitting on Hill's desk with her legs crossed because why not, right? Okay, Bell has arrived, and Dix is going to try to find out if he's the one that took it or not. So a lot of machismo incoming, I think. %80. Okay, so he's convinced Hill that he's innocent, and Hill agrees. And now they're going to track down the husband of the actress, who is the very last suspect. Unfortunately, he has already been arrested for the murder. So now they got a problem. So Hill's going to go see if he has the device. Okay, so the guy tells them about his day. He says that there was nothing unusual in the hallway, except some stray cat. So he doesn't know it either. And now the guy says that he needs to give Hill something. Naturally, Hill is hopeful that this might be it. At the 83% mark, by the way. Oh, by the way, Luscious Bev, if she gets out of this, she's never wearing heels again. At which point, both the cop and Data compliment her on her legs. Okay, all right. Again, I'm sure that's a prompt for some people on a certain website. Okay, so they kick down the door and they find out that what this guy wanted to give Hill were some letters from the actress's husband saying that, well, there are threats, let's just say. Another dead end. Well, that's not good, is it? Just as the book is about to end. Who could have taken it? Oops. Chapter 10. 86%. Excuse me. Okay, so that's a dead end. So they're back to Hill's office. Dix is about to fail. He has no idea what's happened. There's no one else in the building who could have taken the thing. Oh dear, oh dear. And of course, with that, the ship will be destroyed, etc., etc. And he stops on the stairs and he looks where the device was, and he wonders how it's possible that a thief wouldn't have taken it and at the same time then tried to sell it. But if it wasn't a petty thief and it wasn't any of the other individuals we've dealt with over the last hour or so of real, well, not real time, but my reading time, what could have taken it? 89%. Everyone else has returned, including Mr. Data carrying his cat Spot. Dix asks Data, where did Spot come from? Well, he was in the hallway. He must have wandered in when the doors were going open and shut. There was one more suspect. Spot. Yes, the cat did it. So yes, we've spent like I said, about an hour of reading, and this is a giant, well, shaggy cat story. Throughout, there were jokes about, or there were references to cats being visible. Presumably, they're all Spot, I guess. We're supposed to now think that they were all Spot. Okay. Now they have to figure out where the cat would take the ball, playing with it. Eighty-one percent, 91%, rather. Oh, they found a skeleton in a wall. Okay. And rolled next to it is the ball, the gold ball, the part of the adjuster. Yes, the cat did it. Last chapter. It's a captain's log entry. Ah, okay. So the they go back in after things reset and the ship is saved. It's all the ship saving part is done through captain's log. We don't get it directly, and it uh, they go to see if the skeleton is still in the wall, and it is. And then Picard says, "Okay, well, let's figure out this mystery." I assume that's for a sequel, which was never written. Um, the reason why the adjuster was going to disappear when they shut the program off was that The adjuster itself was created as part of as part of a holographic program. It wasn't brought into the thing. Um, so, hang on, I want to reread it just to make sure. Okay, so yes, they did bring it in externally. There's there should be a safety for any matter brought into the holodeck. It already exists for for them and their clothes. Okay, well, now I'm sure there has been some point in some episode when someone has carried a physical item into the holodeck and then shut the program off. Uh, wouldn't I think Worf has brought a batlift in at least once or twice. Um, yes, yes, okay, or maybe that's clothes. I don't know. I don't know. It's just very, it's a strange way to build extra tension in when we don't need to build in the tension. We're almost done here. Okay, and there's an author's note at the very end saying that that mystery has never been solved. Okay, we're done. Okay, so I have read this twice. This is the second time, obviously. Last time was last year. Like I do for my other reviews, typically I talk about how often I will reread something. And this one's, yes, once a year or something like that. It's funny. Uh, it's not serious. It's not meant to be taken seriously. We're really playing up the hard-boiled detective side of things. We don't get bogged down too much in technical mumbo jumbo for the MacGuffin, for the device. Um, your tolerance for the luscious bev stuff, I can understand why that would annoy some people. I didn't mind it myself, obviously. I found it funny. Data is data in it. I should say that Bev is kind of underused. She does provide medical assistance at one point, but she's mostly there as eye candy and as the hat rack, hat rack, and a pair of high heels. Um, I could have expected. I would have hoped a little more, and I think now, if it would have been written today, we would have gotten a little more. Hill is a fun character, and Picard playing Hill is a fun character. You got kind of a meta thing going on, and it does allow for a lot of humor around the whole hard-boiled detective side of things. It's short too. It's a little over an hour to read for me, which is about 40,000 words, so novella length. A lot of the earlier Star Trek novels were that short. Now they've kind of expanded out, and a lot of times they don't need to be that long. It says what it's going to do, and it does it. I can understand how some might not be satisfied with the ending because it is a shaggy dog type thing. There are enough hints throughout the thing talking about cats and the like to kind of think, okay, well, maybe there's something to that. All in all, a fun Star Trek book. If you've listened this far, thank you. I'm hoping to maybe do one of these a week. I'm not sure. I'll have to see how things go. I hope you've enjoyed it, found it entertaining, and you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do at this point. Not sure why I'm telling you, but keep reading, and I will talk to you again soon. Let's see if I can shut this off.